Hey everybody, welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you guys. My name is Kathryn Kauffman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night show. This is where we talk about different self-help topics and paranormal topics, and tonight is a paranormal topic. We're going to be talking about skinwalkers. And on this show, we kind of just do discovery. We dig to the bottom of these topics and look at the whys and wherefores of these things. Let me make sure that all the streams are going, which it does look like that. Not much going on here in Lexington. It's 50 degrees one day and 80 degrees the next. So really not sure how to take this weather. Hey to Amber, good to see you tonight. But I am patiently waiting to put out my tomato plants. I don't want to kill any of them. So I think I'm going to hold off for one more week and then we're going to try to put those out. Now, the reason I wanted to do the show on skinwalkers this evening is they have some similarities to the psychic vampires that we talked about last Monday night. So if you want to know more about the anatomy of a psychic vampire, hop on my YouTube or go back on my Facebook feed and you will find last week's show. Now there's a lot of misconceptions about skinwalkers, and I noticed that there are a lot of shows on YouTube and different platforms about how, a misshapen animal, this is a skinwalker, or my dog is a skinwalker, or, something that they've seen at night or captured on a video cam is a skinwalker. So that's why I wanted to give you the facts behind what skinwalkers actually are, what they actually are, so that you don't watch some of these shows and think that all of these things that they're showing on these paranormal programs are actually skinwalkers. So skinwalkers come from the Four Corners region of the United States, and the Four Corners are Utah, Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico. Now, the Navajo Nation owns 3 of the Four Corners, and the Ute Nation owns 1 of the Four Corners. And skinwalkers are specifically origination from the Navajo traditions. It's within their lore, their folklore, but it's also something that is very active today that Navajo people have to deal with. So let's get into a little bit of what exactly they are. So for the Navajo people, magic or crafting is just another part of their spirituality, and one of the ways that their lives have been richened in culture and history and traditions. The skinwalkers have been considered witches within that community. The Navajos believe there are places where the powers of both good and evil are present, and those powers can be harnessed for good or they can be harnessed for evil. And medicine men utilize these powers to heal and aid members of their community. At the same time, those who practice Navajo witchcraft or dark arts seek to direct the spiritual forces to cause harm or misfortune to others. This type of Navajo witchcraft is known as the witchery way, which uses human corpses and bones in various ways, such as tools from the bones and concoctions made from the corpses that are specifically designed to curse or kill or maim or wound their victims. Maybe they Maybe one person is jealous of their neighbor and they want to take their land. The skinwalker might put a concoction of corpse, body, and bone into a curse and blow it in that person's face. And if that person does not get doctored by a benevolent medicine man, if they don't get cures or doctoring within a certain time frame, they're at risk of dying. So, skinwalkers, their victims are usually some type of revenge, or they want that person's property or money. And so there's some kind of motivating factor behind the way that they attack their victims. Now, sometimes these witches evolve from living as respected healers or spiritual guides who later choose the powers for evil. Though they can be male or female, skinwalkers are usually male. They walk freely amongst the tribe. They don't tell people what they do or what's behind the scenes. During the day, they may be well-respected members of the tribe, and then secretly they transform in the cover of night. And there's a specific way that these people become skinwalkers, so we'll talk about that. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. So Melissa says, is skinwalker the same as skin soul? No, I don't think so, Melissa. I'm not familiar with the term skin soul, so I'm going to say it isn't, because all of the references that I looked up, that term wasn't used specifically, so it might have to do with something else. Now, to become a skinwalker, the person, he or she, must be initiated. Now, this reference says by a secret society that requires the evilest of deeds. Specifically, a immediate family member must be sacrificed or murdered. In this ritual, though, the person that they choose in the immediate family is considered a sacrifice to evil. So, Jonathan, I hope that it gets better on YouTube. Anyway, now the reference that I looked up said that usually the sacrifice is most often a sibling, like a brother or a sister. And what they do is they'll take that person out into the desert in the middle of the night and murder them, kill them, sacrifice them. And thank you, Stonewall. And so that's how they complete the first part of the task. Now, after they complete this murderous task, the individual has to, that's part of the way that they acquire their supernatural powers, which give them the ability to shapeshift into animals. They're often seen as coyotes, wolves, foxes, cougars, dogs, and bears, but they can take the shape of any animal. They wear the skin of the animal to help themselves transform into the skinwalker. Now, some references that I looked at said that when they take the animal and kill it and skin it, to do that, they drink the blood and eat the heart of the animal. And then they make some kind of a covering to wear to use the animal's energy to transform themselves into, it's not an exact copy of the animal, because the people that have seen skinwalkers tell me that they often know exactly that something is wrong with what they're seeing. In other words, the animal doesn't look normal. And we'll get into that in just a couple minutes. Okay, sometimes they will also wear the animal skulls or antlers atop their head, giving them more power. Because you remember, a part of their curses or hexes is to dig up a corpse and use the bones and the rotting flesh of the corpse. And so a lot of their implements are made from bone, not only the ground up bone, but bone knives and things like that. So the bones are very revered in the wearing of the bones. Okay. They choose what animal they want to turn into depending on the abilities that they need for a particular task, such as speed, strength, endurance, stealth. Okay, maybe they transform into a coyote for stealth, claws, teeth, etc. So if they intend on destruction, maybe they would transform into a bear and use the claws and the teeth of the bear to reap their destruction. They may transform again if trying to escape from people who are pursuing them. Now, because these people wear the animal skins, it's considered taboo in Navajo for its members to wear the pelt of any predatory animal. However, sheepskin, leather, and buckskin are acceptable. So, you know, if you walk around wearing a bear skin, whatever, that might come under scrutiny in that community because that's a taboo thing to do. All right. So, once they are shape-shifted, others could tell they were not real animals because of their size and because their eyes were very different from the animals. Instead of their eyes looking like an animal's, their eyes look human when they're shape-shifted. And when the lights shine on them, they turn bright red. Alternately, their eyes will look more like an animal when they're in their human shape. And when the lights are flashed in their eyes in the human shape, it will reflect like an animal's. So that kind of flip-flops with their structure. The evil society of the witches gathers in a dark cave or secluded place for several purposes: to initiate new members, plot their activities, decide what people they're going to harm from a distance with black magic. They will perform dark ceremonial rites. And these ceremonies are actually kind of similar or mimic other tribal ceremonies, including dancing, feast, ritual, sand painting, but they're all corrupted by the evil practices or dark connotations that they bring into the ceremony. The evildoers are also said to engage in necrophilia with female corpses, and they also commit cannibalism, incest, and they ritually and constantly are robbing graves. So grave, in that community, to have a grave be robbed and to have that happen is a clear indicator that there is a skinwalker and they are doing something bad within the community. So it really kind of activates all the powers of good within the community. And from what I read, they will often kind of scour their own community for who it is and try to take care of it within the community. It's just very interesting. During the gatherings, we're getting back to the evil society here. During their gatherings, the skinwalkers shapeshift into their animal forms or go about naked, wearing only beaded jewelry and ceremonial paint. The leader of the skinwalkers is usually an older man who's very powerful and lives a long time or is extremely old. And so one of the things that's thought about the people that want to become skinwalkers is they have the belief that they gain immortality somehow by being a skinwalker. Now, skinwalkers also have other powers besides the shape-shifting. The skinwalkers also include reading people's minds, also controlling someone else's thoughts and behaviors, making them do things that they wouldn't normally participate in or do. They cause disease and illness, destroying property, and they can even cause death. So, one other thing that they do that I have heard about frequently is they will mimic the voice of the person that they are causing harm to. They can also mimic the voice of someone, like a loved one, in order to distract or bring somebody away from a safe place into a dangerous situation. Now, there's several ways to know if a skinwalker is near. They make sounds around the home, such as knocking on windows, banging walls, and scraping noises on the roof specifically. On some occasions, they have been spied peering through windows. More often, they appear in the front of vehicles in the hopes of causing a serious car accident. So that's kind of concerning, isn't it? It is said that in addition to being able to shapeshift, the skinwalker can also control the creatures of the night, such as wolves, owls, and cause them to do their bidding. So this gets into not only they control the minds of humans, but they control the minds of some certain animals as well. Some can call up the spirits of the dead and reanimate the corpses to attack the victims. Now, I've not heard of that as often as some of the other things. Some can call up the spirits of the dead. Because of this, the Indians rarely venture out alone, and especially at night. I know a lot of people definitely will make sure that everybody is in before dark because of this situation. Now, I have seen some videos of supposed skinwalkers that are running alongside a car, and I did read where many skinwalkers can run faster than a car and have the ability to jump high cliffs. They are extremely fast and agile, impossible to catch, and leave tracks larger than the animals. So when you see a skinwalker, the form is going to be larger than the normal animal. And remember, in animal form, the eyes will look human, but in human form, their eyes will look more animalistic. Let's see. Skinwalkers strike out and kill from greed, anger, envy, spite, or revenge. So everything they do is from an evil or dark base. So you have to look at, are they trying to take somebody's property? Are they trying to take somebody's wife? Are they getting revenge for something that they perceive that somebody has done wrong to them? They also rob graves for personal wealth. And like I said, they collect the rotting corpses and the bones to use for their black magic use. Now, here's where we get into their similarity to a psychic vampire. Because they must exist on the unexpired lives of their victims, so they continually have to kill, or they perish themselves. So they are living on, I guess, destructive energy, and so they continually have to cause havoc and destruction or kill in order for their own energy to be renewed. So I want to know if I've ever had an experience with one. No. Thank goodness. Don't want to. But I thought it was very interesting that there were a lot of shows saying this is a skinwalker, that was a skinwalker, when it really wasn't. And I thought, well, we need to clear that up. And what a better place to clear it up than on the show. This is just within the Navajo culture. Okay, if you see stuff on paranormal shows, those may be shapeshifters. Okay, they may be forms of different styles of shapeshifters, which could be what you're talking about, Melissa. The skin soul may be a shapeshifter, but it isn't a skinwalker. So skinwalkers are specifically Navajo. Now let me go into a little bit of history with this. Skinwalkers and other witches in the culture have been long blamed for unexpected struggles and tragedies, including, drought, poor crops, sudden death, sickness, death of livestock, reversal of fortune. And so they had a Navajo witch purge in 1878, which I thought was really fascinating. And that was the most apparent way that they view and deal with the skinwalkers. So this initially evolved from a cultural response to so many people moving across and into other lands. After a series of wars with the U.S. Army, the Navajo were expelled from their land and forced to march to the Bosque Redondo Fort Sumner in New Mexico, in what is known as the Long Walk of the Navajo in 1864. There, the people suffered from bad water, failed crops, illness, death, reducing their numbers dramatically. After 4 years, the government finally admitted that they had made a mistake, and the Navajo were returned to their homeland, their original homeland in the Four Corners area. During these years, many of the tribe members were said to have turned into shape-shifting to escape the terrible conditions. In other words, they had adopted the skinwalking tradition in order to escape these conditions. In the meantime, the rest of the tribe was convinced that their gods had deserted them. Once the people had returned to their homeland and the conditions improved, the skinwalkers were blamed for their years on the bleak reservation. And so accusations of witchcraft and the hunting of skinwalkers began. When someone found a collection of witch artifacts wrapped in a copy of the Treaty of 1868, the tribal members unleashed deadly consequences. The Navajo Witch Purge occurred in 1878, in which 40 suspected Navajo witches were killed to restore the harmony and balance to the tribe. So they take this very seriously, and they realized that the amount of skinwalkers that were in the community they felt was what led to them being removed to the reservation. So they were very desperate to rid that in the community, and it sounds like that they pretty well eradicated every skinwalker that they had at that time. Now, there's a lot of people that have told stories of swift animals running alongside their vehicles, matching the vehicle speed, and after a short period, however, they run off into the wilderness. Along the way, these animals sometimes turn into a man who sometimes bangs on the hood of the car. Very interesting. And let me read this other story. This other story is really cool. Another story tells of a man making repairs on an old ranch home when he heard loud laughter from the nearby sheep pen. Thinking he was alone, he went to investigate and found all of the sheep but one huddled in one corner of the pen. However, a lone ram separated from the group was standing upright and laughing in a very human manner. After the man locks eyes with the ram, he sees that his eyes are not that of an animal, but very much of a human. The animal then casually walked away on all fours, laughing the whole way out. Now, however, skinwalkers are notoriously hard to kill, and attempts are usually unsuccessful. Now I'm going to kind of interject here. That was, I think, the story about the abnormally large wolf that attacked a calf. I think it was a calf on the Skinwalker Ranch. One of the reasons why they felt that it was a skinwalker not only was the size and the strange appearance of the animal, but also the fact that they shot it multiple times and with a very large caliber gun, and it didn't die. It actually got up and ran off, and when they tracked the animal, the tracks disappeared. So those were the attributes of the animal that led people to believe that was a skinwalker, and I think that was one of the reasons why Skinwalker Ranch got its name. So usually attempts at killing these things are unsuccessful. Trying to kill one will often result in the witch seeking revenge too. And remember, they're kind of granted a little bit of immortality as long as they keep killing to renew their own energy. If they, for whatever reason, let's say they get sick and they can't destroy, wreak havoc, they can't kill, their energy will wane and they will die if they don't keep killing to restore this borrowed life force that they're constantly needing to stay alive. Now, successfully killing a skinwalker requires the assistance of a powerful shaman who knows spells and rituals that can turn the skinwalker's evil back upon itself. Another alternative is to shoot the creature with bullets dipped in white ash. However, this shot must be hit in the witch's head or neck area. Now, as far as the white ash, on one of the other things that I read, they just talked about the ash of a fire. And in this reference, they're more specifically saying white ash. And when I first read it, I was thinking maybe they're meaning a white ash tree, but now since I read the other reference, I think it is strictly the whitened ashes of a fire. Now they also talked about using cedar wood boughs. I'm not sure if those are burned, because I know that cedar wood is sacred among a lot of different tribes. And so it would make sense to me to use the whitened ash of cedar that has been burned, but I don't know that to be true. It just made sense to me. But, usually Navajo will not speak about this topic very often, if not at all, because this is something that is specific to their community. It's also kind of considered a taboo subject, but since there are so many programs that are kind of mistakenly labeling things as skinwalkers that are not really skinwalkers, I felt like we need to clarify all of this so that you know exactly what a real skinwalker is and what it is not. So a lot of the other stuff that you're going to see on TV and YouTube are shapeshifters, but not skinwalkers. Okay, I hope this little bit of info has been interesting for you on a Monday night. And I'm still working on the Anunnaki episode, and the further I get into it, the stickier it gets. But maybe I'll have that done next week. I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and thanks for tuning in. Every Monday night is the show at 7 p.m. I appreciate you showing up, and share the topic and share the video if you like. Hop over to my YouTube channel and subscribe and give it a like if you will. And I will see you next week. Kisses from Kentucky. Bye, guys.